Hey everybody, I'm actually delayed in moving because of the hurricane. A couple of people wrote to me asking. Um, yeah, what happened is I had planned with my boyfriend for him to come down here. We were going to go up together in the auto train with my car, but right at the time, the few days before we were scheduled, he got really sick. First of all, he got a bad cold. And secondly, the big, huge hurricane came and flooded the Carolinas. So the train was canceled for at least a week. And it was canceled for the day that we had planned to leave. So since he was sick anyway, and he decided, well, look, I'll just cancel the whole thing. He canceled his flight, and the train was already canceled, so we got the money back. And I said, okay, once this kind of settles and the flood dries up a little bit, I'll just, in the meantime, I can sort of have more time to pack and organize and stuff. So I'll be leaving in about a week now. Anyway, I thought I would talk today about dating. Even though I'm off the market for now, I still have good dating advice to give. I just wanted to warn my fellow women, and maybe gay men, women who date men, or people who date men, but I think maybe gay men wouldn't fall for it as easily, in general terms, as a heterosexual woman would, because they also are men, so even though they're gay and like men, they also know how men think. So they may not be as vulnerable to certain tactics for getting that some men use. And I'm not a man hater. I think you all know that by now. But, there are certain tactics that women use in the dating game. And men use certain tactics in the dating game too. And I believe it has to do with their biology and how they're wired and whatever. So there are tricks that men use to get you to either sleep with them or to get money out of you or whatever the man wants. The tactics can still be the same to get at it. But excuse me. So one trick that men use that I've noticed in my 50-odd years, which I used to fall for, is they see that you're vulnerable. They see that you've had a bad relationship or a string of bad relationships maybe, or one or two bad relationships, or that didn't work out, whether they're bad or not. So they'll tell you, oh, well, there's two things. One, if it's an ex that didn't work out the first time and he's back for more of the same of what he had before, he'll tell you, I was so mistaken, I was so wrong, I can't believe I didn't appreciate you like I did in the olden days and whatever. And so you'll tend to fall for that because he strokes your ego a little bit, because maybe your ego was bruised back the first time around. So you might fall for that. I did when I was young. I fell for a guy who, had kind of not appreciated me the first time around. So he came back 2 or 3 years later. It told me, oh, I've grown. I realize how wrong I was to have lost you and all this stuff, He said it in a way that he knew I would like to hear. And I fell again. That was back when I was in my 20s. So anyway, that didn't work out. It's over. Long past. Kind of learned my lesson. I still fell for it 1 or 2 more times, but not as hard. But, so that's one thing. And the other thing they'll do is, if they've never been with you before, they'll say, oh, those other guys were such jerks. I can't believe they treated you like that. I'm the real deal, and, etc. Verbalized in different ways, but you get the idea. and, you know, I'm the one for you, and, you know, whatever they need to say. But, you know, downing the guys that came before, that they just don't know how to appreciate a good woman and all this stuff. And another thing that they'll do, now that we're on the topic, so that's two things that you got to watch out for, which don't necessarily mean it's not true, but, you know, unfortunately you can't really know. You got to risk a little bit, but you always keep yourself, you know, don't fall for it too quickly. Like, maybe let him think you did, but inside keep yourself a little bit careful of not believing it 100%. Skeptical is the word I'm looking for. Always be skeptical of what they say. You know, you could slowly start to believe it if over time it proves to be true. But always keep, you know, but protect yourself with a little bit of skepticism. And the third thing I was going to say, oh, our meeting, the fact that we met, that we're both in the same place at the same time, it's surreal. This is a surreal coincidence. You know, they act like the way you met was a surreal experience, that it wasn't meant to be, but somehow it became, you know. Just, these are men who know that we read those romance novels growing up, and some of us maybe haven't, you know, become more realistic, and so, and older women can fall for that too. If you're a woman who's been married to the same man for 30, 40 years and faithful to him, and you had a great marriage, it would be, you've not been exposed to the evils of dating very much, which is wonderful for you. But if unfortunately now you're no longer with that person, you're vulnerable to the fact that you may not have developed, you know, more knowledge about dating. Or maybe you were smart. That's why you found the right man right away, because you knew how to pick him right the first time around. So you know, I don't know, everyone's experience is different. But to the ones who kind of still are trying to figure out what this whole dating game is, you know, that's some advice to you. Now, in my case, I actually am at this time in a relationship with an ex-boyfriend. But, you know, he didn't come up to me. He didn't come out of the blue saying, oh, I was wrong, I should have appreciated you. We actually discussed our previous relationship and realized what the things we did wrong. I definitely recognized the things I did wrong in that relationship. So he didn't come back saying, oh, I just should have appreciated you, this and that and the other. You know, he came along, you know, from a lonely place in his life. Now, it still could get messed up, you know. It's never set in stone, but I think I know what I'm doing now. Okay. Even so, I'm not that crazy about moving. I love DC area, and DC, Maryland, Virginia. The North is very beautiful some times of the year. I'm not super excited about moving up there, though, to be honest. I'm happy that I'm getting what I want in part. I'm finally, you know, going to be in a relationship that I kind of want, but I'm just not too thrilled about moving. But I kind of have to, because this garage is needing some repair, and to repair it, I have to be out of here. And I need to get out of here. I need to live a life. So for now, it's going to be a situation that's beneficial to me. And, you know, then later we could discuss moving, he and I, you know, when things are a little bit more settled with his son. It's 6 in the morning. Oh, I slept pretty well, but for some reason I woke up super early and I can't get back to sleep. I'm probably just thinking. Bye, guys. I guess I will doze off again.